Our final guest is Glenn Ciano. Glenn is a writer, producer, actor, and director. Glenn, are you there?
I am. Hello.
Hi. Thank you for
Hey,
joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Oh, our pleasure.
Glenn, how did your career begin, and what films have you been involved with over the last few years?
Well, my career started pretty early with just a fascination with movies. People pick up a guitar. I picked up a camera.
Okay.
And started getting my friends together, started doing little videos and stuff, and putting them out there. And then once I graduated high school, saved up a bunch of money and just went out to the West Coast. I had a cousin that lived in San Jose, and figured that was a lot closer than Rhode Island to Hollywood, and got a job on a film set just by calling people, knocking on doors. Nothing fancy. I was a production assistant.
Okay.
Just kind of using. I took the advice of my father. Said, listen, if you're going to go out there and try to run into the film business, which he obviously knew nothing about, he was a barber. He said, give yourself some time, learn, treat it like college. And even though I was young and didn't want to listen to him, I did. And I just worked from film production to film production to film production. I kind of lived the life of a carny, wherever the job was, I'd pack a bag and go and work. And I got a chance to watch a lot of great actors work, and this was, early 90s, so it was independent film was ripe and very exciting. People were doing stuff, breaking the rules, and it was a great way to learn and to learn about how to make a movie right there at its core, at its skeleton. If you made a mistake, it would cost time, it would cost money. And I'm a sink or swim guy, so
okay.
I would die a slow death in a classroom, but put me in a situation and my blood pumps and I get excited, and I can excel.
Well, you've written and produced
quite a few. After I learned how to make the movies, it came time to try to make one myself. For real. And I did a short film, shot on 35. I got Frank Vincent, who's a really great character actor, to be in it. Basically hired all my buddies that I had come up with to go out there and shoot this little film. At that point, I was living in New York.
What film was that, Glenn?
That was called The Package. I think that's actually out there on YouTube in like 4 little sections, but that was kind of like a calling card for me to really put something together and tell a story, and get out there. And I was writing the whole time, trying to peddle my stuff. I knew I needed something to kind of, show people, remove some question marks,
Now, Glenn, I understand you were the writer, director, producer of the film Incubus?
Yes.
Robert Englund and William Forsythe?
Yeah, William Forsythe. We had Joey Fatone in there, Jonathan Silverman. A very eclectic kind of cast, because I wanted to do something a little different than just what people think they might get out of a horror movie. And being a fan of a lot of the earlier 80s stuff, I really kind of wanted to do my own little kind of homage and throwback to that genre. And William Forsythe was an actor. When I was coming up, when I was working as a PA, I did a movie called Palookaville, and I got to work with William Forsythe and Vincent Gallo and watch these guys work. And then 15 years later, I was able to come full circle and reapproach him, as a director, which was a really a very cool thing for me to be able to do, because William left an impression on me, a big impression, as a young man, watching him work. So to get that opportunity to be directing my first feature film, and to be able to say, I want to go after William Forsythe, and saddle him up with an icon of the genre, Robert Englund, and let these two heavyweights kind of go at it, and then pepper up the rest of the cast with as many interesting, people as possible, and to be able to pull it off. I didn't have a lot of time. I didn't have a lot of money to make the movie. I shot it in 15 days.
Wow.
Wow.
Which is a feat, especially when you're working with something like that. I mean,
well, especially a feature
there's
film.
effects and time is always an issue, but you don't have too many opportunities to redo things. Or I only have 3 or 4 shirts to get dirty.
Yeah.
But you obviously worked with some very outstanding actors on this project. And
you worked with William a couple times, I believe.
Right.
Yeah. Then working on this level, we really hit it off. We really connected. We really worked well together, and he was in the second film that I directed, Infected, which hasn't come out yet. Should be out in October sometime. And then I was able to put him against Michael Madsen, who is super cool movie star guy.
Was that the film with James C. Reilly as well?
What's that?
Wasn't there a film you did with James C. Reilly as well?
No. That was Michael Madsen, William Forsythe, and Christy Romano from some Disney fame there.
One quick question, though, on Infected, if I could go back to that. Can you give us a little overview of what that's about? Because that could be very exciting, and people could look out for that.
Yes. Well, it's kind of my take on the zombie genre, but it revolves around a father and son hunting trip that obviously goes horribly wrong. And it's basically because it's on the, eve of this outbreak that's about to happen, which they have no idea about. Because for me, you go out there and you watch a zombie movie, and everybody's always waking up in a hospital, and the world's already gone to hell.
Yeah.
I wanted a little bit more of a... Well, and first of all, I wanted some people in my zombie movie. I wanted some human characters. I wanted to do a slow-boil Sam Peckinpah type of Western, but modernized, and with zombies. I live in, North Kingstown, Rhode Island, out in the woods.
I know where that is.
Yeah, and there's a ton of deer ticks. It's wild out here. And I actually had a little deer tick on me. I plucked it off, put it in a baggie, and went to the Lyme clinic. And I had this crazy doctor with wild silver hair and a lab coat, way into this stuff, and basically he scared the bejesus out of me, telling me about Lyme disease and how many different strands there are, and it could be fatal in dogs if they get too many of the same strains, and he blew my mind, and like I said, it scared the bejesus out of me, so I went home and wrote this movie, because I wanted to put a little bit more science into the fiction. So in my version, it was an evolution of Lyme disease. It's a blood disease that, it's really kind of scary because it can happen through a bite of something so small and as a deer tick. Bad venison. You know what I mean? You get a little mad cow going on. I mean, there's something that can kind of strike into the bloodstream of things.
He gave you some good ideas.
Turn our human race upside down. So I was kind of fascinated with that kind of horror. I mean, obviously it's a genre movie, and you give the fans what they're looking for. I mean, you got zombies, and you got Michael Madsen and a shotgun. I mean, things are going to get nuts.
Yeah.
But for me, that was what really kind of drove me, and what was interesting. And just like with Incubus, it was more of trying to create the myth of an incubus demon and having him pass through time and kind of really lending itself more towards the mythology and the imagination of things and kind of playing with the genre in that way. I mean, he's obviously a demon and going to be, scary, but what if there was this fascination with the human race? And the biggest, tug of war that he had was with this one person that he needs to kind of go back and he has unfinished business with, and he needs to close it down, because if he really didn't like us at all, if he really thought we were just animals and not worthy, then he wouldn't get so fascinated and tied up with it. So there was a dance there that I really kind of liked and really worked with the script.
Yeah, that sounds good, Glenn. I did want to ask you, though, because we're going to run out of time here in a little bit. How did you meet Bobby, and will there be future projects with him?
Yes, him and I are actually on the cusp of doing a lot of projects together, which is very exciting. We worked together on I got brought in to kind of rework a Sizzler kind of pilot for a comedy thing that was going on, called Life Coach, and he was in it. I was brought in to kind of helm the production, and they brought me on as a director, and a lot of the cast and setup was already in place, him being one of them.
Well, actually, Life Coach, that was kind of based on his reality, isn't it? A little bit?
Well, yeah, Bobby Vigeant has a neurotic life coach patient that can't control his aggression. And
and I really tweaked him. I really tweaked him up. I had him be himself, and I really just kind of tweaked him up. And the other guy had no idea what I was about to put in front of him. And this guy comes, starts ripping off his shirt and doing, flying spin kicks, and it was beautiful. You can't really, you can't get that stuff any other way. It's controlled chaos, which was really kind of fantastic.
I've actually seen trailers to that as well. That is pretty funny.
Yeah, for what we were doing, it was absolutely brilliant. And you know what? And it was instant. I mean, like I said, I met him on the day, worked with him on the day, and something happened, something clicked. And he's as talented as he is. He's also passionate, and aggressive, which is great. You don't get that combination too often. You got some wildly talented people sitting on the couch, or you got these not very talented people who are very aggressive. So he's a really great combination of all those things. And we basically just stayed in contact. I went off and did a couple of projects. He went off and did a couple of projects, and then we met back up, and we started. We just threw it out there, got a cup of coffee, and I told him what I was doing. He told me what he was doing, and it just aligned.
Well, let me give it a station identification, and then we're going to go right back to this conversation. You are listening to The Next Big Star with Dari-Lynn and James Kelly here on KLAV 1230 on the AM dial in Las Vegas, or KLAV1230am.com on the internet. Our guests are Vigeant, Ken Beaver, Peter Conti, and Nick Biron, and Glenn Ciano.